I'm talking to a customer and I pop open the damper and I go to look up and I'm like, what the heck is that? So I ran the camera up there and I got this big jolly face looking back at me.
You know who made it.
Welcome to Life of a Founder. Our goal here is to give you an inside look at the experiences of small business owners who have started, operated, and grown a business from the ground up. We strongly believe that there's no better way to learn than by listening to the stories of others. So whether you're already an entrepreneur or dreaming of becoming one in the future, we are sure you'll gain valuable insights from every episode. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the man behind the mic, our host, Matthew Sumter.
As much as you're comfortable giving me, give me some idea of where that kind of the revenue's gone from maybe some of your earlier years and what rate kind of are you growing at this point?
Growth isn't always on my radar. It's mostly optimization. It's always has been. There's different business owners out there, and I've evolved a little bit into the guy that runs the business rather than the one that's out there turning the wrenches along with the guys and gals and everything else. And there's some people, I've got clients and I know people that have no clue on how to do the technical side of the business that they own because they're a business owner. They are strictly a business owner. So basically, I've never looked at the actual percentages or whatever. We went from 0 to, I think, 20, and I kind of cut it off at 20 because I started seeing that we would have to put like management people, teams, things like that into place, and I didn't really ever want to do that. But over the years, in 23 years, we've went to 15 to 20 people, and a lot of that happened when Brandy came on because I've always been more of a technician. I've had to evolve into a business owner and that. But as for finances and everything, when you're your own bank essentially, and you don't have any debtors and you don't have a lot of car loans and stuff like that, everything goes to the bottom line. All that interest money and everything, I pay myself interest. And I borrow money from myself, loan it to the business, and then pay myself interest. That's the cool thing about having a business and having the funds and means to do that. But with that being said, I think usually running the business now, I have to watch the balance sheets. I get a report, just got one today I've got an accountant that I push all the bookkeeping stuff to because we keep it very simple. We don't do a lot of billing and things with credit cards being so prevalent, and people are used to paying for stuff, right when they get it or before they get it with Amazon and everything. We haven't had to loan money to strangers in a long time is what I call billing people. Yeah. It's weird, but that's what you're doing. I don't know this person, but hey, hopefully you'll pay me in 30 days. And so with that being said, we don't have a lot of those struggles because I've got clients I've got one client right now. He owns a power washing business and he has $50,000 in billing out. And I remember having that when I stopped billing. We had 70,000, and I'm like, dude, that's a lot of money. That's how much people make in a year. That's more than what some people make in a year. And it was always awkward having to call people and stuff. So we did away with that. Right now, the numbers are looking a little weird as we start to rebalance out just from a larger staff and kind of scale down a little bit, and then we're going to scale back up a little bit. But everything's still hitting pretty good. I think one of the things that a lot of people like to know is like net profit and percentages and stuff. Yeah. In this industry, most service industries, it's usually around 40-50%. Okay. Now with that, my bottom line looks pretty darn big most of the time because we don't have all of that stuff in between where we're having to pay a lot of debtors and stuff like that. So I have to allocate that bottom line and make sure that I'm allocating it towards future purchases because, work trucks aren't getting any cheaper. Right. I think last time I shopped was like $60,000, $70,000 for a work truck. So yeah. So it takes time for that. But like I said, I got to get 5 years or 150, 160,000 miles out of that. So hopefully that gives you some insight.
You kind of talked about how you don't really want that management structure, and that you're kind of a technician that likes to get out there and do stuff. Mm-hmm. But as of now, how hands-on are you personally, or what's your day-to-day look like? You said you're transitioning more into the business owner.
Yeah, so I'm trying to empower my people. So I've got two quote-unquote managers. They kind of share the job, because what we do is we're weird. I've pioneered a few things just on the quality side. When a technician comes out to your place, not only is that technician doing the job, taking the photos, communicating with you and everything, but after they get all their paperwork done, there's actually an operator, is what I call it, back at the shop, which is one of these two gentlemen that have been with me the longest. And they check. We have this awesome CRM, which is a customer relation management tool. It's probably one of the best on the market. It's called Service Titan. And there's another one that's really similar called House Call Pro, if anybody's curious about any of that stuff. But Service Titan is very big, very expensive, but it does everything. And so we're able to check all this stuff in real time. So not only are you getting a knowledgeable, trained, certified technician out to your house, but you're also getting another senior technician checking everything virtually back at the office. And it's amazing what we can do these days. I mean, he can see everything in real time. If we want to take a video and upload a video, pictures, estimates, information, all that stuff, it's just very right there. So it's very cool. Yeah. And so that empowers those people. So my day, they start at 7. I usually don't get in there. I like them to run the meeting in the morning. Every morning we meet, we have everybody meet in the back room in the clubhouse, essentially. It's kind of like Hill Street Blues. You ever remember that cop show where they get up in front, okay, the beat cops, we got to do this download. Okay, you're going to go this. We're looking for this perpetrator or this guy or this license plate. That's, and we go down every job for the day as a team, because we might have to swap the day up or whatever. And it's also a learning experience, because we pull up every address. And what this amazing thing, this is a little hack for any service company. Google the address, Google your own address, just Google it. It's amazing the photos that come up, not only from street views, but also if you've sold your house within the last 5 to 7 years, the real estate photos are still up there. So we're able to pretty much get a good sense of that job or that chimney or that fireplace, what that technician's getting into before they even go out, which is awesome. So it keeps the quality. That's why we have so many positive Google reviews. Because man, we're all about the customer and a good experience and accuracy and everything else. And and that's how I keep those people engaged and they're able to do that. So I go in, they start about 7, have their meeting and everything. I usually get there between 7:15 and 8. And I of course say hi to everybody, and I do a lot of the ordering. I do all the financials, of course, and I'm kind of the Q&A guy. If those two or the rest of the team can't figure it out, they'll come to me, and I've been around the block a few times.
Subject matter expert.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm kind of their Google. I'm Chimney Google for them. But I've got an office now. I didn't have an office for a long time. I always gave all the offices away to the office girls and let them pick. And I've got an office now because they didn't want an office manager anymore. Brandy does a good enough job for that. And so I go in there and I'm working on the other stuff in the business, the behind the scenes stuff and everything. So, what to do, how to make things better, what's the next piece of training, stuff like that. So big picture guy.
You stole one of my questions in my research.
Did I? Sorry.
Close to 1,000 reviews on Google, 4.9 stars. And so I was going to kind of ask how you maintain that quality. And you kind of mentioned some of it there with your CRM and kind of how you get ahead there. But on a employee personal level, how do you maintain that?
We love reviews. We love Google reviews. When an employee goes out and does a good job, the weirdest thing is asking someone, hey, did I do a good job? Are you happy? Are you so happy that you'll write something online about this? So it's very hard to get those. But if you think they're just going to come to you on your own, you don't have to ask, or you don't have to help, because good people typically aren't online trying to find a way to review something.
At least not if they're happy.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if they're mad or if they're just an unhappy person, boy, that's their favorite pastime. Yeah. So we encourage them from people that seem like they're happy with the service or what have you. The guys will text. They'll kind of determine, hey, this is a good person to ask a review to. They'll text and say, hey, they'll ask for it while they're there. It's kind of a process thing. We also have our CRM will send it out if we like. But you got to kind of hold people's hands through there, because I found that a lot of people that are real happy and good with service and not just kind of bitter, what have you, have never written a review in their life. So it's actually a pretty good thing, because the funny thing is a lot of people that don't write reviews are the ones that read reviews. So it's like you got to contribute a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of a process. A lot of them have to be kind of guided. Hey, this is how you do it. Do you have a Gmail account? It's real easy, And so yeah, that's kind of how we do it. And you just got to keep on doing it. And the guys and gals, our office gals get them too. They get PTO for any reviews that they get, because it's an extra thing. It isn't required by us. We don't tell them you got to go out and get 10 reviews this month. I mean, you could do things like that and base it on raises and stuff, but we do a lot of celebrating, and that's just one of the things we do. I mean, people will gather up enough. I've got one guy that we call him the review king. He just loves reviews. He loves getting them, and he gets so many. He's going to have a 40-hour vacation just on PTO coupons that we give him. So yeah,
very cool. Beyond just, I guess, the quality and those reviews and that sort of thing, how do you measure the success of your business? What do you consider a day-to-day success?
Day-to-day success is as much peace as I can find in my day. Everybody seems happy. Customers are happy. If we have an unhappy customer, we're able to get to them and help them out with whatever. Most of the callbacks or return trips, about 90% of them, because I track a lot of stuff. We track everything, actually. It's usually user error. It needs some re-education or whatever on, hey, this is how you change batteries. Oh, did you know that there's a battery case inside the unit too? Because using your Fireplace is kind of like flying one time a year, and you forget to take your belt off or your shoes, and everybody looks at you funny like, puh. Didn't you know that? I haven't used this thing since last winter, So sometimes they got to have a little re-education, but yeah, and it all works out real well. So even more telling of success is when I get that report from the accountant every month, and I look and I go, okay, we're doing good. We're able to do some nice things. We're making enough that we're able to pay our people well and offer them good benefits. And things of that nature, when the phones are ringing and everybody's happy and it just seems like everything's in good shape. That's kind of how I measure the success, and I'm happy.
All right, yeah. Do you have any good stories, or can you tell us the strangest thing you found in a chimney? Or
strangest thing I found in the chimney? I found Santa Claus one time.
Wow.
It was a weird one, but I have found golf balls actually over here. The club's right over here down the street from where we're at now. I found golf balls, which is hilarious because that means someone hit
a hole in one. Yeah.
No kidding. And they probably don't even realize how lucky they are. I found tennis balls near tennis courts, but Santa Claus was the most interesting one. And I found some interesting, I'd say the second most interesting was the first time I found an owl inside of a fireplace, and I screamed like a little girl at a horror movie, and it just freaked me out because that thing, it was obviously dead and stiff. But the Santa Claus story. So I'm talking to a customer, and I pop open the damper, and I go to look up, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I'm looking. So I go out and get my camera. We run a camera afterwards on the flue, make sure everything's good. And sometimes I'll run it before if they don't have a cap and I hear something, or maybe I don't want to get bit. Could be a raccoon. So I ran the camera up there, and I got this big jolly face looking back at me. And I pushed it up with the camera and pushed it out the top of the chimney, and chimney didn't have a cap on it. And I brought it inside, and I go, I don't understand why this is, or how this even got in there. And the wife goes, "Oh my Lord." That's where that went. We thought it flew off. My husband thought it would be hilarious because the chimney pointed towards the road, a main road, and thought it would be hilarious to have Santa, plastic Santa legs sticking out of the chimney on top. Well, they went out there one time and it was gone, and they thought, oh, it must have flew off or an animal took it. No, it slid down the chimney. So I did find a golden egg once. I thought of that when I was telling the Santa Claus story. That was in a... I always check the makeup air on a certain type of fireplace with a wooden sided chimney on the outside. They have a makeup air kit where it brings fresh air in for the fireplace. And I always check that and make sure it's not blocked or animals have gotten in there. And there was a golden egg up there, and I popped it open. It had a $50 bill in it.
Nice.
And I took it in and showed the customer. And I go, hey, I think, obviously someone, and hey, look, it has $50 in it. And the customer goes, "Oh, that's great! I didn't know no one ever found that," and put it in their pocket. And I was thinking, I guess that's not going to be a tip today.
Yep. You didn't get your Easter egg that day. All right.
Good times.
Yep. So I'm sure with all the planning you do that you've thought ahead, and you kind of have a planned out future for your company. Where do you see that going in the short term and long term?
So we're going to be empty nesters here soon, and my wife and I are going to have probably a little getaway board meeting after my daughter goes off to college, wherever that will be. At least that's the plan, and my son Noah is already in college, and so that opens up some stuff for us, and we're going, okay, so what do we want the next 5 to 10 years to look like? So it's hard for me to say on a personal level what that looks like, but on the business level, I'm trying to grow my people to where I can go and do a little bit more of the business coaching, educating, things like that, where a little bit of my passion lies. I've done this for a long time, and so it gives them more opportunities and more responsibilities, which helps them grow. We've modified a few little services, but I've scaled the business really well on services and kind of stuck to what we're good at and what we do a lot of. But there's a few things that over time we aren't, like, we'll tell a customer, hey, the siding on your chimney has a hole in it rotting or whatever, and just the siding on the chimney, and we'll say you need to call a siding company or a contractor or whatever. And then they'll call back 2 weeks later and say, I can't find that person. I can't find this. And why can't you guys do it? Or do you guys have somebody or what have you? So we're looking at a few things, air quality in homes, air exchanges. A lot of houses are, people have tightened them up, trying to make them more energy efficient, which, actually you can over tighten a house, which isn't good. So there's a few opportunities that I'm, looking at adding little services. Also the other reason I'd like to empower my people some more to get kind of some of that off of my plate and let them do a lot of that is because the sheet metal shop is ready for some growth. And I'd like to, one of the reasons we didn't just put that in for ourselves, we put it in also because all these other chimney companies around town were having the same problems we were, only just not on the scale we did. So it's very nice. I'm trying to set it up to where instead of them having to wait 2 to 3 weeks for something, it's a 7-day turnaround. So that'll help out not just us, but also the industry. Also, we see a lot of horrible work by roofers on flashings and stuff, and we're making some of that stuff and chase pans and things like that. So we're making those. So I haven't tapped that market yet. So yeah, so that's kind of the next year's plans and trying out some new advertising and stuff. So yeah.
Do you ever foresee selling or keeping it in a family, or you've mentioned the ESOP and kind of maybe turning over some of the ownership to employees? Are you thinking about going that way more, or? So
when I first got into this, my plan was I'm going to work. I'm going to be the primary. I'm going to work, and at 53, I tap out. I'm done. I'm going to do something else or retire or something. Well, retirement age is a lot older now, obviously, and and things have changed. Business looks a lot different. Am I going to hold my breath? My kids are going to take it over. I'm not. Noah is in an entrepreneur class, and I'm happy to say he's interested, but I don't foresee him doing this, and he hasn't really given me that notion. The ESOP was because I don't want to just shut the doors and go, okay, well, see you guys, I'm 53 now or whatever age I am, and I got enough money. See you later, suckers. Go find a job. So I thought, well, if we empower the people, I can step back and do some more of the stuff that I want to do, and then they get a cut of the business. So everybody's a business owner. How awesome is that? But short of that, other than that, we've been talked to a few times from other people about buying it. But I think if anybody ends up buying it, it'll probably be one of the employees, and we've got a couple that have kind of hinted around here and there. So we'll see where it goes. If someone were to walk in and say, I want to own a chimney sweep business, I would tell them, come work with me for a couple of weeks, live here, and if you still want to own a chimney business in a few weeks, then we can talk. But so we've got good people though, and I like the idea of an ESOP. I like the idea of people having partial ownership into things. It's nice. It tends to get people more involved and engaged. So,
all right. Apart from your business specifically, what kind of skills and traits do you think are essential for an entrepreneur to be successful?
So, grit is a big one. You really gotta want to outwork others, which isn't really hard, if you ask me, but I'm a pretty solid worker. I've always worked since I was 10. But yeah, if you can grind and you just work a little harder than most, you're gonna be fine. But you got to decide what kind of business owner you want to be. Do you want to be hands-on? Do you want to just be the guy that or gal that runs the thing from a distance? What have you? Figuring out that, and then if I was to go back in time and I kind of knew what I was looking at for now, I would do some more sales and financing classes because I've never been a natural salesman. And people think, when they think sales, they think snaky. This guy's trying to sell. Really, it's a lot of communication. And I've kind of had to teach myself a lot of that. And the finances, which nobody likes finances at the end of the day. I'm a huge believer that everybody's bad at math. Even the people doing finances are bad at math. And so that's another one, just understanding a lot of that. And I've had to teach myself a lot of that too. So those two aspects are the reasonable thing. But then the rest of it is grit and determination and drive.
Sounds like common themes from what I've heard from people.
Is it?
Grit specifically is a term that I've heard before. So.
Yeah. Some people have it, some people don't, and it's not horrible. It's not a horrible thing if you don't have a huge amount of grit, but at least be passionate about something. All
right, let's get to some personal questions,
Sure.
Not specifically about the business. As an entrepreneur, you've mentioned kind of branching out into some different areas with your company and even some of your own personal passions, teaching and that sort of thing. Are there other business ideas that have come across your mind that you don't have the time to pursue, but you think they'd be great ideas?
I've got a list of about 20 of them. I come up with ones all the time.
You need one or two of the best. Give them away.
One or two of the best. Here, let me pull it up on my phone. Where's my phone? Here, I got a bunch of them. I keep lists of that stuff. You think of, especially when you're an entrepreneur, when you own a business, you start critiquing everything everywhere that you go. And you're like, especially when you start becoming a business coach and you have to give people advice. And it's like, oh my God, all you have to do is this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a couple things. Like when people go, hey, I want to start a restaurant. I go, don't start a restaurant, start a food truck. And you know what you need to do with the food truck? Because I was a caterer and we based ours on speed. And what's the number one thing you see at food trucks?
Big lines.
A big line. Why? And why do they have such difficult menus? Like, oh, this is like a fancy restaurant on 4 wheels. Look, when people are there, most of the time when you're at a food truck fest, you want to spend time with somebody or do something, or you got screaming kids or what have you. So I never understood why they take every order and then they prepare every order when 100 people are going to order that. Mm-hmm. So anyways, but yeah, little stuff like that. You see a lot of that stuff, but yeah, we'll run down to Jeremy's big list of businesses and I'll give you a few that are fun. I got this little app called To Do, and it's really cool because you can share lists with others and other people. So like if I wanted to start a project with you or something, I just send you this and we can add stuff to it. So I've got 100 of these to-do lists.
Yeah, you might be able to sell that.
Yeah. Here they are. 44 of them to be exact.
We'll stick with one or two today.
The one thing I've always looked for is something that I could sell over and over and over and over again on Amazon that's Fireplace and Chimney related. That's usually where people come up with like the best business ideas are ones that people came up for themselves for their business to help them with their business. Like a lot of them are businesses that person has to be present with it. But one of them, I took a motorcycle. I have a motorcycle and I took a motorcycle class and I thought, you always see these motorcycle shows and stuff. How about being a demo ride leader and you actually set up trips like for people who want to go to Sturgis and you're kind of like a tour guide of that with motorcycles or one of those passions, which is nice. Yeah. Let's see here. Call centers for businesses, specialty businesses. They kind of exist, but a lot of them don't have industry specific. I've seen a few industry specific and those are really successful. A lot of them are just general, okay, just get someone live to talk to. Yeah. But industry specific call centers for business owners, so your phone can get answered 24/7 or overflow into it. That's a great one. How about a rent a dog service? You go on vacation or what have you, or you're somewhere else and you usually have a dog or what have you, or people that want to try out a dog or something. Rent a dog service. It's crazy stuff, but
it's like Airbnb for your dog.
Exactly.
That's a good idea because I know how expensive it is when we go on vacation to get rid of our dog.
Yeah.
And if someone will pay me to do it, I'll sign up for that.
Yeah. There's another really cool business, and I can keep on going on these, but there's one I actually saw a long time ago, and I'm surprised I haven't ever seen one like this in town. But this business, they shrink wrap things, essentially huge things. Like they'll shrink wrap an entire, like a boat, a building, and it keeps the weather off. Like they do a lot of furniture, outdoor furniture and stuff. What a great business that would be. You go out there, you'd use this heat shrink wrap stuff, and it just keeps everything like grills and things like that.
I've seen the boats. Yeah, I didn't know it went beyond that. But
yeah, when I read the article a long time ago, he was actually doing construction sites.
Okay.
I'll tell you, starting a business, you start looking at some of those. Like there was a lamp place over in Waldo or something like that. Mm-hmm. Dave Smith, the lamp maker or something like that. He's been in business forever. And he just, can't find anybody, who wants to get into the lamp business. So, we're taking this and we're just retiring because we can't do this anymore. We don't want to. And there's so many of those businesses that are heading out the door that you could, step into. Yeah, there's just so many different things. And I'm always amazed, like Mosquito Joe. A lot of people don't know that those now everybody's starting these mosquito companies. And did you know that pest control companies have been doing that for years? Someone just took that one aspect out and turned it into a great service for people. And it's hilarious because now the pest service people are trying to advertise it and people look at it and go, what? So something like that too, that you can take a little bit out of is always awesome. So,
all right. Do you have some mentors or some people who have influenced your growth?
Yeah, so my first mentor was Bart Ogden out of, first mentor, I guess I can say, was Steve Hamilton, the guy that owns Chris Cakes here in Kansas City. He taught me a lot of stuff about life and how to enjoy travel and things and meet people and be outgoing. So that was kind of a good start. And then when I went to chimney sweep school, I met I met that lady, that one woman in the class that was Bart's wife, and they live in Wichita. And I did a lot of catering stuff in Wichita. So the first year that I was doing this, I would go down there. I would take every Chris Cakes event that I could in Wichita, and then I would stay the afternoon down there, and I would just ride on a truck for free, and work for Bart, work with Bart, and everything. And he got me to a good level. And then since then, I've had business coaches, and I've had friends and people, networking people. That's why you got to go to conventions and stuff. People stay too locked up. You got to get out there and meet people and network, because that'll really get you ahead. It's not what you know, it's who you know, a lot of things. So.
And what are you reading or listening to right now?
So I'm always listening to something. So I'm a big believer in the College of Ford, which is when I hop in my Ford van, I'm always learning something. Because people go, how is that? Well, I don't listen to the same music over and over and over and over and over. And I don't listen to the junky radio shows or what have you. I pop in a podcast, or I pop in a Audible book. So I don't do a lot of reading per se. I think we all read a lot throughout the day anymore, looking at computer screens and everything. I listen. And right now, I just got done with a marriage book, because I do listen to stuff other than business stuff as well. And now I'm into an Enneagram book, which is it's called Surrounded by Idiots, which doesn't sound real good, but it helps explain personalities. All of us have a certain amount of personalities, and and there's different ways of doing it. I mean, it's very interesting. As you get older, you start finding yourself getting a little charred, because it's almost like you've heard the same stuff over and over, and you know what people are going to kind of do or react. And it's like, so you start getting you almost start getting a little, almost like the grumpy old man type thing, even though I'm not that old. But when you've been around the block, so you start going, okay, why do people do these things? Why do they act that way? And so it's very eye-opening and interesting when you start looking into the DISC assessments and things like that. And then you can start playing this game of, okay, that person really is really negative towards me. I'm not real happy towards that person. I want to say a few other words, but we're on a podcast here. Why are they that way? Well, there's an entire personality type for that, and they're not going to change. But if you know how to communicate with that person, maybe you can tame the lion a little bit, right? There you go. Or you go, boy, that person's always happy. I want to be just like that person. Well, they're a certain type person, and you can look and see this is how that person, these types of people are, and you can try to be more like that. You can, everybody has to work on themselves. You can work out physically, but the mental aspect of it, I think we've all found out over the last few years, we all need to work on our mental game a little bit and our mental strength. So,
yep. Along those lines, when you're not working on the business, what do you enjoy doing outside of work?
Well, I hang out with my kids as much as humanly possible. That's my first thing. One. Yeah. You'll never regret a second of that. I heard a statistic, and I like statistics, but some of them are probably BS. But this one said, from the minute your kid leaves the house when they graduate or what have you, until you die, the amount of time that you'll spend with your kid from the point they officially move out until you die is 1 year. So all these little, like Thanksgiving, we spent 8 hours at Thanksgiving. Okay, well, that's 8 hours. So I try to spend as much time as humanly possible. Outside of that, I have a motorcycle. I've got a 3-wheeled vehicle called a Slingshot. I like to work. I do a lot of work. Try to exercise. I need to get back to F3 a little bit more now that my foot surgery is over, and I need to stop worrying that I'm going to injure it or something. So those are kind of my things.
Any unusual hobbies that people don't know about?
I was waiting for that question. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people know about it, but I've never been a sports fan, but I've always been a UFC fan, a mixed martial arts. I've always loved martial arts. Always loved that was my favorite type of movie when I was growing up, and always tried to do some form of martial arts or whatever. And the UFC, I got the first videos and everything, and I'm an actual nerd fan. It's kind of something I hide a little bit because it's weird. and maybe it's not, because when you look at football
less
fans,
weird.
yeah, when you look at football fans, I mean, they paint themselves up and they paint all over their, bare chest, and they yell and scream and hoop and holler, and I need to get back to it more. But I do trips to locations and see UFC fights, because they don't come to Kansas City every week. So I have to fly to Vegas, or I'll go to Chicago or somewhere, depending on the fight. And I'm an absolute nerd. I've met Dana White. I've met most of the fighters on the roster. Haven't met Conor McGregor. He kind of popped in, popped out. But I'm very good at noticing people in public. I'm bad with knowing names, but I'm really good with people, faces, and things. I love people watching. And so when I go to Vegas, I run into fighters all over the place, get photos, get autographs, and I love it. And I keep it all in a little tote upstairs like a weirdo that keeps their toenail clippings or something. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, I'm an absolute nerd fan when it comes to that.
All right, that's cool. Have you had an opportunity to do any yourself, or you're just a observer?
So over the years, I loved it. I loved it so much that I tried out some different things and sparring camps, and I actually worked out with one of the. It was called Fight University, and they actually had some semi-pro fighters and a UFC fighter that worked out there. And I've always done a little bit of martial arts here and there and everything. And so they saw when I went in that, hey, this guy's taking the normal classes, but it looks like he's got a little bit of training. So they put me in with those guys, and I found out real quick, you either have it or you don't. And I don't like to get punched in the face. Yeah. A lot of people don't.
I think I share that. Yeah.
Yeah. And my gosh, you get injured all the time. Mm-hmm. And so right now I'm kind of looking for a jujitsu. I've never done jujitsu, but I went and took a class. Gracie was in town, the original OG Hoist Gracie. And I went and took one of his little class deals. And I thought, with the right setting where I don't get some extreme sweaty wacko, I got to treat this like every training session's a fight. I think this would be a really good cardiovascular, kind of chess match, which I like that stuff. So I'm kind of lightly looking for a jiu-jitsu place that I'm not going to go in and get my toe broken or my arm broken or something crazy. I just, little slower pace, roll around. And unfortunately, I don't know if I'll find that.
Yep, that's all right.
But yeah, as you get older, you worry about getting injured.
Yep, I know that feeling. All right, let's do a few rapid fire questions. We'll get this wrapped up. What is your favorite month?
October.
All right. Vacation destination.
For a vacation, San Diego.
All right. Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is blank.
Amazing and shocking and surprising.
All right. Night out or a night in?
I'm a night out person. My wife is a night in, so it's weird.
Yeah, all right. And do aliens exist?
Yes.
All right. Perfectly done. We've covered a lot. Is there anything that you would like to share that we haven't covered?
I feel like I probably talked more than any other person that is going to be on your podcast, because I love talking. I love this.
Longest so far. That's all right. Like I said, you need something to listen to in the car. Other people need something to listen to.
Chop it up, and you can always do a part 2 one day.
How can listeners find out more about your business? How do you want them to contact you if they're interested in talking? Or
so I mean, if it's business related or whatever, you can always go to my website, shoot an email, or just call in. Website is www.kcsweep.com. Kansas City, kcsweep.com. Phone number at the office, 913-236-7141.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with me, and
thanks for giving me probably 2 hours of your time.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. We got some
hour and a half.
Kansas City Chiefs football to watch tonight.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. All the Kelseys are going to be there.
Talking about Taylor Swift, we got the Kelseys playing each other again. So
hey, I think the whole Taylor Swift thing. First off, I wish they would lay off him a little bit, because they're it's just crazy. I think Taylor and Travis are probably laughing at the whole thing, going, "Man, watch this." But I think it's great because I wasn't a football fan. I'm not, my daughter is a huge Taylor Swift fan. We went and saw her in concert, and that's why I said those 3 words. I couldn't just say one about her. But I think it's opening up a lot of avenues and a lot of stuff. Like, I wasn't a football fan. I'm a weirdo, man. Never a football fan. But when they had that quarterback show on Netflix this year, and it told, I love stories. And when they told the story of Mahomes and a couple other Kirk Cousins, and look, I know people in the NFL now. How about that? Yeah. They got me involved. So I will be watching the Chiefs game tonight. Been watching the K-State stuff, and that whole Taylor Swift thing. It's kind of the same thing. They're dragging in a whole nother set of people, and it makes it exciting.
All right. Well, again, thanks, and it was good talking to you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yep. It's an honor.
Thanks for tuning in to Life of a Founder. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes. And if you have any friends or family members who would enjoy the show, please share the link with them. We truly believe that small businesses are the lifeblood of our communities, so we encourage you to take that first step and start your journey toward business ownership.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take this opportunity to personally thank you for listening and sharing my show with others. If that's all you ever do, that's perfectly fine. You may have noticed that we don't currently have advertising on our shows, and as of now, I haven't made a penny for the hours I've poured into the show. So if you'd like to do more to support this show, you can visit the website at lifeofafounder.com/support, where there are a few opportunities to support me. Once again, thanks for listening.